when it comes to actually like the future of your promoting, how far do you want to take it? Like, did you want to eventually be like one of the main promoters for a massive venue in London? Do you want to keep it small but build up that community? What do you see as like not an end game, but like a future for it?
Yeah, so for me, it is more about the community, and I also have to weigh up like what can I actually do. Not in terms of ability, but in terms of like what do I have the motivation and the energy for? Because I do struggle with that because of potential undiagnosed ADHD, which obviously I'm not going to self-diagnose properly, but as far as I can tell, that is the issue I have. Yeah, so I struggle to kind of prioritize and everything like that. So I would need something where people aren't going to be kind of expecting a lot from me, especially because I do have a job as well, and I'm not very good at kind of saying, well, I'm only going to do this thing today, and then tomorrow I'm going to do this thing, because I can't guarantee I'm going to have the energy for that thing on the tomorrow. So yeah, for me, it's about building up what we have in Luton, and making it like the best it can be for future bands and musicians, future promoters. Like, that's kind of what I want. I want Luton to be, and a lot of people, like every person that you see who is trying to show Luton, like, I don't want to, I'm not really name dropping, but like talking about Stacey Dooley and people like that, where like their kind of focus has been, I'm from Luton and it's not as bad as everyone says it is. And I really truly do believe that. There are pockets of it not being as nice as it could be, but there are pockets of that in literally every single town that you go to.
Yeah.
So why Luton is the one that gets picked on, I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of what we all want to do. Some of us are kind of, as I said, more involved in the wider industry of like the UK industry rather than just the scene. And so that's why kind of Castlefest is pushing to be slightly bigger and slightly different, and like slightly bigger bands each year and things like that, because that's the push that those people are able to give it. And then what I want to do is more of the community stuff, and keep that going. And if there's a way maybe in the future where I'm able to kind of take working to part-time and actually dedicate maybe a few hours a week to going and visiting schools and colleges, and like giving like mentoring to younger people that are interested in the music scene and the music industry, like giving them that start off, where they can say, well, I actually trained to do this in Luton, and just kind of build up that view of Luton, as to say it isn't actually as bad as everyone who's never been here tries to make it out to be.
No, I understand. Is so Luton, you've like actually lived in the area like your entire life?
Yeah, I lived in the same house from when I was born to when I was 26.
Wow.
Yeah, 26. Yeah.
It's a fair old time.
I know. Crazy. Long time.
Didn't realize it had actually been that long for you.
Yeah.
So you also have on the side, you got the Veg Podcast.
Yes, the Edge and Veg Podcast. Yes. It all started.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It all started because me and Jake, who is in a band called Assimilate, who are kind of like metal, new metal, hardcore influence. Like you can definitely hear different influences in their music. He's in that band, and when it was possible to meet up with people outside during the COVID years, I was hanging out with him and kind of that group from where he lives, and we realized, because I was like, drive to his house, we'd get on our skateboards or longboards, skate over to someone else's house, hang out for a bit, or like go to the skate park or something like that. And so on the kind of journey to and from other people's houses, and like sat outside people's houses and stuff like that, we realized we could just talk about anything. And like we're just both very chatty people, and I think we both bring it out of each other as well. So we were like, ha ha ha, we should start a podcast, ha ha ha. And then it was like, well, maybe what if we did? What would it be about, kind of thing? And then we were like, well, both of us, at the time he was vegetarian, I was vegan.
Yep.
And he didn't drink or like do any drugs or smoke or anything like that. And I was straight edge. So then after like explaining to him that like straight edge was a thing, because he'd been not drinking, not smoking, not doing drugs for like almost his entire life, apart from like he tried alcohol a couple of times and was like, this is not for me. So yeah, after he'd kind of found out really what straight edge was, he was like, oh well, that's me. So yeah, he's straight edge. And then he became vegan. So he'd actually been not drinking for longer than I had, but I'd like claimed edge for longer than he had.
Yeah.
So kind of much of a muchness, really.
I love that term, claimed edge.
Yeah. And what was I going to say on that? Oh yeah, and then after me sort of talking about being vegan and everything, he was like made the leap into being vegan as well. So that was quite cool. And so yeah, the podcast kind of came out of that, and we talk about like the first couple of episodes, they're so awkward, and we're just basically saying this is what veganism is, and then the next one is this is what straight edge is. And so we were just like talking about those things, but it has kind of developed into us talking about like how those things are in relation to our lives, and how maybe we live our lives based on those different things. So yeah, it's been really good. And then we also talk about things that are like adjacent to that. So we talk about the music industry, because obviously being like straight edge is a big part of the music industry, like the hardcore industry, the hardcore scene. And being vegan is obviously like a huge thing that's in the hardcore scene as well. So because his band are hardcore adjacent, and obviously at the time when I was in Ill Informed, we sort of ended up being a vegan straight edge band because all of us were vegan and straight edge. So yeah, it was really easy to talk about, and obviously Jake's such an easy person to talk to. And honestly, if anyone who's watching this like needs to go to a show, and they happen to go to an Assimilate show, like he's honestly one of, if not the easiest person to talk to that I know. Like it's so easy to just have a conversation with him about anything. And he's also like very open to educating people on those types of things. And he'll always say like he's very like open to, if someone has a different view to him, he wants to talk to them about it, because he's like, well, I can't expect to change your mind if I can't expect that you might change mine. So let's have a conversation about it. And he's like, chances are they're not going to change my mind, because I don't want to eat animals. But he's open to the idea that someone might say something to him that he'll be like, oh, that's a very good point, I hadn't thought about that. So yeah, he's really open to having conversations about literally anything. Like we went to 2000 Trees a couple of years ago, and after everyone had gone to bed, me and him were just sat in his tent talking about it was like not religion necessarily, but like spirituality. And it's like, that's such a random conversation for us to be having in a tent when neither of us have been drinking. Like I think that's the main thing there. Like people talk about spirituality when they're on some kind of drug. That's just normal. But yeah, we were completely open. Yeah. So it was quite cool. And again, like that it's all become podcast episodes. So yeah, it's a very cool thing. And we don't do it because we think people listen. If people listen, that's just a bonus, but we do it because we just love chatting. And if people listen, then that's just a fun extra.
Yeah, no, I agree. Are you still currently doing the Edge Veg podcast? The new episode's still coming out?
Yeah, we're a lot slower with it now because obviously I'm busier now that I'm not at uni and I'm actually working. Because before I could have any days off, and not any days off, but like it would be much easier for me to just travel to him on a day. because I'd be free a lot more of the time and stuff like that. Whereas now I'm at work and then I have to come home and I have a house that I have to like upkeep, even though I don't. But yeah.
I get it.
So
I get it.
I'm gonna.
Oh my god! Sorry, I was about to say, if you come back over here, we'll do it in the morning. We'll do it in the morning. But going through that archway, it's really good.
Is it?
It's
yeah,
really
I was thinking that. I'm actually really pleased with how it's looking.
Am I. I could already see a band.
I hope they're pleased with it.
I can already see a band on that stage.
Yeah.
After you.
I think I might also eat a potato.
It's potato o'clock. It's funny because like from here, I'm like I'm not really sure. I mean, sure, this bit doesn't feel right when I'm not carrying like an amplifier, a guitar, and a speaker cabinet trying to get through this bit here. That doesn't feel right. I need to be like weighed down as I get through.
Yeah, someone like insulting you.
Hang on,
one of your band members.
There's a creeper over there. I've had you on here. I've been on your other podcast, which you're about to speak about. But we haven't done the Wheelergames Joe Wheeler crossover with Edge Veg yet.
Yeah, and I am more than happy to have you on, and I know that Jake will be as well.
We need to make this happen.
So it's really just about finding a time when everyone's free.
I'm pretty much free whenever.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, that would be really good.
We need to do
obviously because we record so rarely, we try and do like a block of maybe 3 or 4 in a day.
Yeah, I get it.
And sometimes that takes us to about midnight.
Yeah.
Which is long, but it means that we've got it all done. So that's nice. But yeah, so yeah, anytime that you want to come on, I'm more than happy to have you on, and I know Jake will be too. So
yeah, that'd be good. It'd be good.
That'd be a fun thing.
So speaking of which, though, you're so being like vegan and edge, what were like the causes for you to pursue this in the first place?
What, the podcast, or being
just
vegan and straight edge?
Being vegan and straight edge in the first place.
So when did it start? Well, I was vegetarian for about a year before I was vegan. Just checking those windows. But they are blacked out, those windows, actually.
Can you tint windows in this?
No, they're like... I think I don't know. I feel like you should be able to tint windows, but no, I mean, they're actually like blanked out now. They have like wood over them.
You can stain glass.
So we'll leave it like that.
You need black dye, which is squid ink.
Yeah. So yeah, I was vegetarian for a year, and that literally came after wanting to be vegetarian for a while, but like trying and failing to be vegetarian. Like I'd be veggie for like a month or like 3 weeks, and then I'd sort of be like, oh, I feel really ill because all I'm eating is corn and crisps.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to cook vegetarian meals, because I'd grown up like just knowing how to cook meat, vegetables, and it like so but then I literally had a dream one night and woke up the next day and was vegetarian after that. Like that was just what happened. And so yeah, that was the meat eating to vegetarianism transition. But I had stopped drinking milk at that point, but I was still eating cheese and chocolate. But it was just the idea of drinking milk was like a bit bleh for me, and also I'd gone off eggs by that point as well. I had a very brief egg phase. So
sorry, that's just such a funny sentence.
Egg phase.
I had a very brief egg phase.
Yeah. And then what came next? I think straight edge came next. And it was sort of like I'd been umming and ahhing about whether I wanted to be straight edge. It was something that I was like, well, I've never smoked, I've never done any drugs.
Yeah.
But I feel like cutting off alcohol would be maybe too much, or like I just didn't know whether it was something that I really wanted to do, but I was still very much like it could be. And then I went to Rafe's house once and was like, and he said to me, I've decided to be straight edge. And I was like, amazing. Like at the time, like, my best friend is going to be straight edge. So I'm going to do it too, because I know that it's not just me now. I know that the people that I'm going to be hanging around with are going to be doing the same stuff as I am and have the same like mindset about it as I am. So I knew that I'd have that support there. And then we all became, at the time, like some of us were vegan, some of us were vegetarian as well. So slowly that transitioned into all of us being vegan and straight edge. So the straight edge was in the November, and then the following July is when I became vegan. And then, like I said, a few of the other members of the band were already vegan.
Yep. This is ill-informed,
and this is ill-informed, yeah. Yep. And then, so then that was it for a long time. And then more recently, and being out of maybe like that group of people and being out of the scene and everything, like I've very much in the last few years had a complete turnaround in terms of who I see on a regular basis. My view on straight edge changed a bit, because I was kind of like, I was at a point where sometimes I just want to try something to see what it tastes like, or to see, like, you know, I've had this thing before and I liked the taste of it, I'd like to taste it again. Or like, oh, do you want to have some champagne on, like, to celebrate this thing? And although it's not necessary, sometimes it's just fun.
Yeah.
And having a strict set of rules doesn't always work for every single person.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. So it doesn't make sense to have the same set of rules for every single person. So I kind of decided at that point, I was like, I don't actually think I want to be straight edge anymore. Like, I'm not interested in smoking. I'm not interested in doing any drugs, but just to have that option. And I think it's kind of crazy to have to like announce, like, oh, by the way, everyone, I'm not straight edge anymore. But that's the way it is, and especially in the scene, it really is a huge deal for some people. So yeah, it was kind of like a thing that I haven't really talked about loads, because I know that some people would kind of find issue with it, which is crazy. I want to live my life in a different way.
That's kind of on them, though. I'm going to be honest.
Some people would say,
if they want to be dicks about it, that's kind of on them. That's not, you have got nothing to apologize for or not.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm kind of like, at this point, I kind of went through a little phase where I was like, yeah, I'll have some drinks when I go out. Because now I understand where my limits are, and I know like how much I should and shouldn't drink and everything. Like, I have much more of an understanding of my body and everything.
Yeah.
And that was how it was for quite a few months. I think I stopped being straight edge in about March, April kind of time.
I didn't realize it was this recent.
Yeah, it was quite recent. So yeah, in more recent months, I've noticed actually I am pushing it more and more. And it's not that it's becoming unhealthy, but it's definitely like, why am I allowing myself to get to a point where I'm like not feeling well the next day kind of thing? Like, why am I allowing that for myself? So I've now kind of come to not a full circle, but I've come to a point where I'm like, I'm more happy to not drink than I am to drink. But I'm not going to consider myself straight edge, because I do want to have that option of, maybe I want some Prosecco at New Year. Maybe I want to see what that person's drink tastes like. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Rather than it being like, oh, I'll have a night where I do drink and then months where I don't. I much prefer where I am now, and I think that's much healthier for me.
Yep. As long as you're happy with it, and as long as you're finding it all okay, and you're not hurting anyone else, what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
Because that was the reason was it for me going straight edge, because I realized that me being under the influence of alcohol was causing other people hurt and harm in some different way. I wanted to quit it anyways, and I'm unfortunately a all in or all out sort of person, so I had to do it.
Yeah,
I have to quit all of it. And if I were to just randomly go, oh, you know what, I might just have a beer. No, that's going to be 3 bottles of wine. So
yeah.
I need, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have any. I've got a really bad, addictive personality. So. Yeah, so but it's been, but like I've always said, like as long as you're not hurting anyone else, I don't care what you do.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. And I think straight edge has kind of got this is. I mean, if straight edge people hear this, it's gonna cause a big problem. But I think straight edge has got out of hand a bit from what the original idea of straight edge was, which was live your life how you want to live it. And if that means being free from drugs and alcohol and everything like that, then you should do it. But don't try and kind of change other people's ways. Whereas I know that some people like, oh, so-and-so's not straight edge anymore. And I know that even I was guilty of that because I was so in that kind of echo chamber of like, all I know is vegan straight edge. All I know are vegan straight edge people. And anyone who isn't is kind of like, they should be. When actually, no, it doesn't work for everyone. And I'm a case in point of that because I'm now not straight edge anymore. And that works better for me. But having that flexibility to know like, oh, I can choose to do this thing and I can choose to do that thing and I can choose if I want to never drink again, but I don't have to call it straight edge.
Yeah, no, I can completely appreciate that. And again, like I said, if you feel comfortable doing this, if you feel like this is the right move for you, then go ahead and do it. Don't let anyone fucking stop you.
Yeah.
So with the Edge Veg podcast, I keep going to say Edge Veg podcast.
We always say edge and veg, which kind of breaks it up a bit. It's a little bit easier to say.
Edge and Veg podcast. That actually is a lot easier to say. But you also have you had the Luton Lives podcast. What can you tell me about that?
Oh yeah, so we've had various iterations of interviewing people in relation to Luton Lives. Dave had a kind of podcast series where he was interviewing people over Skype and he was kind of putting those videos together and they were being posted on our Patreon. But then again, like it always comes back down to work and how much free time we have. He's a very busy person. He works long hours and he's not always like at home. He's not like at home during the day usually. So he's not always able to have those interviews with people when they're free maybe. So we had that, and then I said I kind of wanted to take over the kind of contacting people in the industry and talking to them. I wanted to kind of take over that. So I wanted to do not quite a podcast series because it wasn't going to be posted as audio only. It was going to be posted as like a video interview series that I could do. And just get like industry professionals or people involved in some way.
Your mate Joe.
Kind of, or my mate Joe, and just like have them talk about what they do and have it as a good resource for like this is all kind of going towards that community thing, and having those interviews as a source where I could say like I go into a school and say, like, thanks for listening to my TED Talk sort of thing.
Yeah.
If any of you are interested and want to learn more, like you can email me or you can literally watch these videos. And I have this whole bank of videos on our YouTube where, like it will say person's name and what they do. So like for you, it'd be like Joe, musician, or like someone else it might be like so-and-so promoter, and so this person could be like this like 15-year-old or whatever could be like, oh, I want to be a promoter, so they'll click on the one that says promoter and they'll click on all the ones that say promoter and they'll get a feel of what it's like to be a promoter from a person who, or from multiple different people who all have different opinions and different experiences, and they get to have an understanding of it before they even get involved in the first place. So that was the idea for that. But as I for all the people watching this, as I said to Joe the other day, my upload speed at home is so slow that I can't actually upload the interviews that I have done. So that's fun. That's annoying. But I will get around to it. And those interviews will be posted. It's just I need a faster upload speed and I need an external hard drive or an USB. That's all I need.
That's all
but
you need.
Once again,
right.
life getting in the way.
No, I never. Life?
Yeah, life. Nah.
Life? Yeah, I think that might be my slogan for the rest of my life. Nah.
Yeah.
That's
great
how I
slogan.
That's how I feel for the rest of my life now. Now I have a recurring penultimate question that I usually ask people, which is, what is your tour life hack? Now, for you, I think I should ask, what is your promoter life hack? So is there something that you do every single time that you got a show booked that you go, I need to do this because it will just make my life 10 times easier? Like, is there like a sequence you do, a folder thing you have, a little industry secret that helps you perform your job to the best of your ability?
A very small thing is I always forget people's names.
Yep.
So if they introduce themselves to me, I repeat their name back to them.
Okay.
So, but it doesn't always work because a lot of the time I'm so focused on being, you have to remember their name, that I forget their name. But that is one thing. What other promoter hacks are there? Make it look, even if you're not maybe into the music that is being played at that moment, like, give it a chance, because you might actually find something in it that you do like maybe you're really into indie music, for example, and there's a hardcore show on.
Yeah.
And you're like the face of the promotion group, or you're the sound person or whatever. If you make it super obvious that you're not enjoying it, the band or musician who has come to perform at your venue is going to leave saying, we don't ever want to go there again. We've had that, like when I was in the band, we've had shows where we're like, we never want to see that sound person again because they were just an arsehole.
Yeah.
They clearly didn't like us. They're clearly not into the style of music we make, and they made the whole thing difficult for us.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to be that person. So that's kind of from a band and a promoter point of view. Like, always give the musician the best time and make them feel like they were wanted to be there, because that's all they want. I'm always so happy when, like, we've had bands come through who have said, like, oh, we've been waiting so long to play here, like we've seen the other people play here and we've wanted to play here for ages and we're so glad we're finally here. And I'm like, that's the vibe I want. That's the vibe I want to give off. I want everyone to be like, oh my gosh, we played at the Castle, we played in Luton, and like be proud of it. You don't want to give people an excuse to be like, nah, never going there again.
Yeah, I like that. And what is it that bands can do that are, other than, you know, being polite, other than like actually putting on a good show and not being a dick, are there things that you look for in bands that make you want to rebook them again?
Just being nice. Like, some of the bands that we've had, we've just been like, we're booking them again. Like, right from the moment they've stepped through the door. Yeah, we're booking them again. Love to see them again.
Yeah.
Just either from how organized they are, or how, like, maybe they shout us out. They're like, oh, thanks to the bar, the venue, thanks to the sound people, like, thanks to the promoters. Like, any time that we feel valued, we're going to value you. And in the same way, we want you to feel valued. And so we try our best to make you feel valued. And it really is a two-way street. It's not promoter versus band. It's we're all working together to make it a nice, fun environment for everyone.
Yeah, it's good. And it's nice to see that there are so many people out there who do want to just come back and, you know, provide the best service they can for you guys as a promotion company as well. And it's all to and from. It's all to and fro. As long as you're providing the best thing you can, other people want to do hard work for you as well.
Yeah,
it's all give and receive, and not enough people are on the giving part, unfortunately. Everyone just wants to take.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate. And it's the other thing is it becomes obvious with certain bands as well, and you're like, I don't know why this band are being dicks, but they're just being dicks.
Yeah. Luckily, we haven't really had that. Like, just off the top of my head, I can't think of any band where I've been like, God, I really hate this band.
Yeah.
Which is a good place to be in, I think. To not have that and to not think like, oh, I don't want to see these guys again.
What are the future plans for 2024?
For me?
For you as a promoter, like, is there going to be any band related stuff coming up?
Well, I'm learning drums.
Oh, okay.
I'm learning drums. Yes, that is something that is brand new for me. I've never played drums before in my life. I have attempted to sit at a drum kit and make some sense of a drum kit, but it's never worked. So someone that I work with kind of has the basics of drums, has like a basic understanding of drums and is able to teach me some of the basics. So that is what I'm doing. The idea behind that is mostly just because I love the idea of learning an instrument and like love learning new stuff. I think it's probably again going back to potential ADHD, but like a dopamine, like, ooh, new thing, shiny new thing, like hyper focus type thing. But yeah, like I'm really enjoying it because I'm picking it up quite quickly. I'm not always in perfect time and everything, but it's really fun. And
drummer?
so yeah, the idea.
Have you seen our drummer?
He's good. Don't you dare say a bad thing about Ben.
Love you, Ben.
So yeah, maybe at some point I'll be in another band. There's talks of me joining a band with my sister. There's talks
awesome.
of me joining another band with some other people. But all of it is kind of like very much, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But it's just nice to be learning something cool.
Thank you for jumping on the stream with me, Laura, and thank you for answering all the questions I had. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Yeah.
See you in the next video.
Thank you for having me as well.
You are more than welcome anytime. And yeah, see you next time, guys.
See ya.